Hello guys, glad to have you on board again today. In order to close and terminate this week, as the markets are still pretty much unable to read, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell these weekly candle closes will look like. Are we going to have dojis in the euro area? I don't even have a look at the US any fucking more. But this is what the weekly candle close looks like in Shanghai, and it should really be worrisome. So Wall Street doesn't fear any fucking thing as usual, and we're gonna focus as well our attention on those markets today, but not in a trading perspective. Once again, speculative shots have been fired. They've been missing the target, obviously. Worse than that, I took a headshot, so I'm standing by in the battlefield waiting for prices reactions. Therefore, I'll be able to trade again afterwards, but for now, I need to be cautious. Alright, so China is closing at the lows with a bearish engulfing structure and a weekly fucking signal suggesting what we have in Shanghai right now might be exactly what I was forecasting. We do have a range. We did fail right into the resistant context. So the next target is to break the lows, not necessarily going crazy fucking low, but I still tend to believe that what we have in front of us is this kind of structure. All right, so in the future we'll definitely break this one by the upside, but until then we managed to figure out going below those lows, probably trading this trend line or these long-term supports, but normally we're not going to go crazy further than that. Still, it is out of the current market top a 38% decline. So what is it going to be, 38% in China, if we do have to replicate in the US? Like I said, it's not going to be 28% simply because of the price underlying structure. Too many ETFs, too many people that cannot sustain 28% without going irrational. So at 28%, we're going to have some catalyst, bearish catalyst that will push the price even further down. Simply because those guys, out of 28 to 25, 28% losses, they'll definitely sell, which means in a market without bulls, we'll have a shit tons of sellers that will push the price lower. So yes, I still tend to believe that we can make a 35 to 30, something like that. I mean, 30 to 40% losses in the US, and that would just be normal. So we'll see about that. Selling signal, clear selling signal back in Shanghai. The Nikkei is also trading this. I mean, 2 weeks in a row in here. If we were about to bearish gap next week, that would be a weekly abandoned baby. I've never ever seen that in my entire trading career. So last time we had such thing was in here, right? Trading upward gap, trading 4 weeks, and then bearish gap. So it's really, really, really ugly. And by the way, I never even figured this one out. I just discovered it. So anyway, we could have something really ugly coming along the way in the Nikkei as well, depending on what the week, the overweek session will look like, if we have some bad news or anything like that. If we have a look at the Hang Seng as well, bearish engulfing, closing at the low, so not a good sign in here at the trend channel. So same thing, all right, suggesting what we may have in here is a breakdown of the context channel, which was to me absolutely normal. So in here another, I think 25 to 26% drop is to be expected. I don't nearly think we should break this support, but at least get to trade this area seems to be rational to me. So the question is how the German index will react to this. Is next week going to be a bearish engulfing structure as well, which will form an evening start pattern right below 61% retracement? And in that perspective, same old thing to expect out of the euro area, 20, 23, 25% drops. And then we're done. We're finished with the deal. We've finished dealing with these recession kind of trades. But the question is, how do you think Wall Street is going to react to this? This is still the underlying question. If we go down, how much can Wall Street go? Like I said, we've been stupid fucking far. So I think it has to be paid. There's a price to pay for this shit. We've been over irrationally bullish. We're going to have to be over irrationally bearish. In the opposite way when the shit will hit the fan. Question is when, and even that, if it will ever happen, because now we do have this new paradigm in which we can't be going up forever. So this is what we're going to say today after covering up just a few assets. So first of all, Tesla. All right, look at how the weekly candle close looks like for Tesla. Definitely a weekly. Still the week isn't closed. We need today to keep on going, but yesterday is definitely a breakout candle. That's exactly what I want. I just need this to be confirmed by today's candle having to break through and accelerate toward the trend channel. So maybe a bearish gap today to come along the way. I don't yet know what is priced for Tesla, but what I can tell is that this support, I think, is about to break because the momentum is bearish, the volume is there, we got everything we need for a breakout. We had absolutely no support out of price, we got plenty of room to oversell. So we've got everything we need to just fuck up Musk's dream. That doesn't mean the company will die. That doesn't even nearly mean that I won't buy Tesla afterwards. All I said is that if you wanted to buy Tesla for a 10 years future, you definitely wanted to do this out of $150 instead of buying the goddamn $360 or anything like that. All right. Once again, if you have a plan, if you have a scenario, I don't shit on the bulls. That's not how I do. Definitely not. Once again, I don't really care that much about Tesla. Some people have said Phil is a negative Tesla, is a bullshitter, is a bear market trader, is a bear bias trader. No, I don't really give a shit. I mean, I probably have driven, drove a Tesla right before you would even imagine. I drove a Tesla like 5 to 6 years ago. I was among the first ones, basically. Back in the days, there was just one selling store in France. And I went to this store and I tried a Tesla myself. I was absolutely liking this. The thing is that I just went back home. I just made my own calculation to see if this really worth the 69,000 euros to get this shit. And the calculation was easy. It just took me half an hour to figure out this isn't matching what they sell. This isn't. The battery cost 35K, all right, and that's the price back then. But now this price has been rising, obviously. So the thing is that the battery costs more than half of the vehicle. We don't know how long it lasts. We don't have yet enough history out of the data. Moreover, we don't know how much this battery loses through time, and worse than that, you'll see this pretty much instantly when you drive this car. If you want to get to 5,000 kilometers of distance, then you might really want to be slowly driving. At a constant speed, you definitely want to be highway kind of driving. And if you have any such traffic or anything like that, then you might be at least losing a third of the expected distance to cover. So the thing is that, yes, that's the big problem. The second big problem was, to me, the cost. All right, which means I expected the battery to last for 5 to 10 years. All right, on an average, let's say 200,000 to 400,000 kilometers on the battery to have a decent distance covered, because you might very well say that after 6 to 7 years, probably just half of the battery life will still be in there. So there is a big problem. All right, so there's this, the actual technical problems, which means I went to a single conclusion. Economically, it isn't fitting the plan. It is not a win doing this. But what I said is, the day we'll have a technological breakthrough, you can be damn sure I'm buying an EV instantly. I already have the cash. It's already ready for it. They make a scientific breakthrough, I'm buying it tomorrow. Not necessarily a Tesla, because they'll have probably shit tons of competitors, but still, you can be damn sure I'm switching to an electric vehicle by tomorrow. Just a day, we'll have a new vehicle with a new technology of battery storage and energy storage. What we have today, lithium ion, god damn it, that isn't fitting anything by the plan. We know the lifetime of those batteries are not good enough. We know that no matter how hard you try to put 30 fucking K little batteries in a car to make it drive longer, That doesn't change the problem. The EV isn't yet mature enough. We need a scientific breakthrough. I goddamn bet that we'll have it by then, in less than 5 to 10 years, we're probably going to have it. A little genius coming out of nowhere will figure out a way to store energy in a much more efficient manner than it is today, and then it will be broadly created, industrialized, and then we'll finally have broad-based electric vehicle for everyone. And then we'll have another problem, how to produce all that goddamn electricity. So we're probably going to have to burn some fuel to do it. So that's the same old problem. Those who are doing EV shit for a bright green future, that's bullshit. I mean, the problem is still going to be the same. How do you get to produce that much energy for that many people worldwide that still want to consume even gorgeous, even always more gorgeous shit and things like that? We still have an energical problem, and we need a scientific energical breakthrough. So we need two breakthroughs in the forthcoming years. We need a storage breakthrough to revolutionize the way we transport stuff and everything like that, and we need an energical breakthrough. And we need to find some way to produce some electricity at a large scale without polluting the entire shit planet we're living onto. All right, so anyway, that's the problem with Tesla. So once again, those dreams are just dreams, but by the day they will actually be realized, there will be a shit tons of competitors. Tesla is a buy, but is a buy at a decent price, and I think it's near or even below $150. Apple is reversing as expected, evening stock structure. So like I said, some people said now, Phil already got it wrong with Apple. We shouldn't be selling this. All right, then I think I was just right, and that was just risk management. So I'll just wait it, obviously, no problem with that. I'm still selling that shit, and I think it is about to collapse. Microsoft. God knows what this is. This thing is absolutely irrational. We're getting parabolic, so let it go. I mean, those trend lines were pretty much like vertical already, wasn't enough. So we'll see how it goes, but the future is absolutely not bright in here. We just let it go. I don't know if this breakout target, if this range target that's been clearly broken up, is just, this is the final excess for some stupid guys to try buying, and anytime we reintegrate this is where the shit will hit the fan and where the speculative bubble will burst. But as for now, it isn't. I can consider this as a breakout. All right, let's say we're overbought, we're getting as fucking high as we can, and we just lifted off the ground out of 120. So as long as we don't go back to ground, there is not even a single chance that this bubble will stop. So I would say for now I don't have enough information to sell Microsoft, so I just let it go. AMD is a big sell. I think we're working out this area, and I'm just putting my stop loss, my alerts below the previous supports, because anyway, anytime we're going to get there, I'm going to sell this. Speculative crashing, obviously, speculative bubble, dead cat bounce pullback. So anyway, we go back to bearishness in here. I'm going to be selling. It's just that I would have liked to sell yesterday at those prices. Selling just right now right on support doesn't seem like a plan to me. So I'll wait for the market to work out this area, and for now I'm just patiently waiting. Facebook, I don't know what to say with this, but I think it's just a sell. We've been going to the top area of my selling entries, 61 to 76. That doesn't mean I'm selling just right now, just out of this with this gap, but I think I just think it's a sell, pure and simply. It's a dead cat bounce, ABC. We're straight into the expected area, even though we managed to go up to the top of this area with this bullish gap. I still think it's a sell, whether you like it or not. Qualcomm, Cisco, and all those shits, they'll probably start reversing if the stock market does. But at the moment, we're still waiting for it. Cisco, just have a look at this. All right, bearish engulfing structures on the go. All right, so I'll wait for this. If it closes like that on a weekly basis, I'll sell it, definitely. All right, that means it's over. We're about to crash, or at least it will definitely worth a speculative tryout. That doesn't mean it's going to make it. It just says I'm going to try it out. Nvidia, obviously, I think it's another sell as well in here. It's a bearish engulfing structure, confirming last week's bearish engulfing as well. So if we do close like that, I'm going to definitely take a sell entry on Nvidia at the candle close today. So lots of sellings to come along the way in Wall Street, and I think it is just what had to happen. So some people think we're going to go historical high. I think we can. But if we start reversing in here, there's no coming back. because all those values will just drop, 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 and drop, and drop, and drop, and drop, and drop, and drop. All right, so I'm not saying that we need to sell hard just right now. All I'm saying is that by next week, if we do have some weekly bearish engulfing structures on the cash market, then the worst case scenario will start putting itself, which means we're triple top in the US. I know I've never ever seen such thing. I need to be really honest with you guys in here. The thing is that it never happened in history to triple top a market. But there's a first for everything. What if we were about to do this? So this is what the weekly candle close looked like in Wall Street. If for some reasons today we were to close back into previous week's candles, all right, let's just put that in perspective so you'll see what I mean. This is the previous week's high. Let's imagine that today we were about to close below this line. Just bam, we go close in here, which means we're going to close back into the previous week's area. And if we do this, and if next week is a bearish engulfing, then I think we'll have it. I think it will be more than enough to consider having it. And we'll have this goddamn triple top. And whether you like it or not, it will be a lower high. I just said it. I know some people will come for me just because of what I just said, but we don't have historical highs. Yes, we do have historical closing high, but we never got all-time highs again for now. And if we were just about to reverse just out of this, imagine how tiny will have been my scenario. I said we already have the market top. Imagine if we were just about to reverse 3 ticks from the historical highs. That I would be so amazed, because I would just think it will be so funny. But the thing is that for now, I don't nearly even think it is possible. I think we have way more chances to go to the historical highs just because we have to. So many stop losses on top of those levels. But if we don't, that's where the actual game changes. If we were about to reverse without historical high printing on the SPX, I would say, oh my God, if we can do this so close to making it, then this really means something goes really wrong and the worst will be to come, and the shit will really hit the fan. Because if we go down to those supports without a new high, and worse than that, if we were about to work this area and break it down like I expect it to come, and we'll just replicate this. We'll go straight line down the bottom in here, and remember what I said, we've got bearish odds on this range. It is a range, so I started selling as a bearish range, starting retracement. But if we do fail double top, still it's a range, but the bearish odds means that we're probably going to break it down. So like I said, if you think this cannot happen, then all I can tell is brace yourselves, because I think more than ever this can happen. This could very well happen, and that's a minus 40% drop out of the US sector. All right, then now fuck your president, because if this happens, you can be damn sure Trump is not going to be reelected. All right, so now we're going to terminate today's show because I just made it for the French guys as well. So in a technical perspective, we're done. All right, I'm not even close to say that this is what will happen. I don't know. All I'm saying is that in this area you can't sell whether you like it or not. You need to have bearish weekly engulfing structure and a signal, which so far we don't. So you got them wait. You can't do any different than that. We need to wait. In the US I got stopped out. I'm not going to trade again. All right, I'm waiting for new informations to show up. I'm waiting for bearish reversals. All I'm saying in here is that if we were about to revert without, or just a tick away from the historical high, that would be just so funny. So funny. Anyway, so what we're going to cover up today is a broader perspective. So now we get out of trading, okay, so we're not talking about technical scenarios, we're talking about the fundamentals, backgrounds, the things that I bear in my mind right now, and we're going to talk about markets confidence, all right? The thing is that confidence in the markets is just like confidence in human relationships. What we're going to talk about today is the way you and every person worldwide is granting confidence to someone else. What I came up with is basically this. All right, take that as an example. We're going to go blank chart, so we're going to have some free space to draw. So the thing is that when you're young, it's called a teenager, you're learning through life. Consider this as the way you're going to grant confidence to someone. All right, so what we have in here is the strength of that confidence. All right, on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, what you have is basically through time. All right, so let's say that you just met someone, you got them like it so fast because you're young, you're rapidly according confidence to some people. You see the best in every fucking one, all right? So you're getting ahead of everyone fastly. You want to show the best of yourself. People are showing the best of them. So you're rapidly creating connections. You're rapidly making friends and everything like that. But the thing is that people are people. Nobody's fucking perfect. So you start meeting people, you discover the best of them because they do anything they can to just show the best of them, and they do everything they can to hide the worst part of their personality. But we're both gray shaded. No one is just white, no one is just black. That's not how it works. We all have shaded gray areas in our own persons. So what happens is that then through time you start discovering the blackness of those people, the gray areas. And some people gray areas will remain good to you, which means you're still having some ethical sharings with that person. You'll like the person any fucking way. You'll say and you will remain long-term friends probably. But still, most people will just start disappointing you. But the thing is that when you're young, it takes quite a while before you actually get disappointed. Consider this curve as this, all right? The people will start disappointing. You'll start figuring out the shaded gray areas of this person, figuring, but you'll still say, okay, this person is a friend, we've lived many things together. If I don't really like that person, it takes quite a while before you put it out of your life, all right? Before you say, okay, that's enough, I don't really want to spend time with you anymore because I have other persons I'd rather like to spend time with instead. All right, so that's the way young people see human relationship. They want to create as many bonds as possible, and therefore they're creating fast bonds in which they're hiding their worst. They're just showing up the pros. They just do anything they can to avoid cons, which means when you get into dispute with someone, you're going to do everything you can to just be agreeing with it, to just entertain the relationships, all right? So that's how it goes. And obviously, when you grow up, this shit gets to absolutely reverse. You've been so many times fooled by some people who are just ending up pretty fucking disappointing. Now, what you're going to do is that you're going to slowly according to this, you're going to much slower grant your confidence to someone, right? You're going to have far less friends, real friends, I'm talking about that, right? Not buddies, all right? So you'll have shit tons of buddies, obviously. Some people need to have lots of people in their lives, but normally through time you get to learn quality instead of quantity, which means normally you'll end up with far less friends, but way more qualitative friends, all right? I bet you all agree with that. So the point in here is just to set a ground basis. Everyone will agree, and then we're going to develop. Obviously, that's not the point I'm getting up to. All right. So the thing is that confidence through time and through maturity gets like this. We build itself, it gets the confidence, and it can deteriorate pretty rapidly. Which means when you get disappointed by someone, you're not just putting it out almost instantly. What you do is that generally you balance things and you said, all right, you might be heading in the wrong direction, but I'm going to do anything I can to help you go in the right direction. And when you've gone too far, you really need to go way too far to just disappear from my life, all right? Normally, those persons are really, really close friends, but still, life can tear every relationship apart. Because time does things and people does change. You change, I change, everyone change. So even if we could be the best friends today, that doesn't mean we'll be 10 years from now, because many fucking things can change in between. All right? But normally, most relationships will pursue through time. So anyway, we're going to take an average scenario in here, not the youngest version of it and not the oldest way of doing it. We're going to take an average, all right? Kind of a bell signal and a bell curve. What we're going to do out of this bell curve is that we're simply going to study it. All right, how does this work? We're going to call that the confidence thing. Okay, the problem is it is not how it works in here, right? That doesn't mean that someone you grant confidence will obviously have to destroy it. Like I said, some people would just remain in acceptable areas and oscillate in here. All right, so consider this as a splittable stuff. All right, what we call is the apex. All right, it is in here. Let's split that to halfway in here and halfway in here, and we're going to do the same old shit with the horizontal lines. All right, so, all right, which I assume you understand what I'm doing. All right, so what we do is this. All right, we split it halfway, halfway, and halfway. It gives us areas, okay, portions. What we do in here is that we're gonna study each of those portions. So the first portion, which is in here, all right, is when you just meet someone. You rapidly get to build confidence. If you like the person, you're creating bonds. And like I said, we're all focusing on the best. You're not looking at people and saying, oh no, this person, I don't like it. First, you're going to focus on what you like into people. You're going to meet this person, you're going to say, oh, I like that in you. I like that in you. I like that in you. We can bond each other with this. We agree on this and this and this and this, and that's good. And even if we don't really agree on this specific purpose, we'll find areas in which we can agree. So we're going to build some bonds. We're going to rise confidence in each other. We start meeting and understanding each other. All right? So then gets the next area. Obviously, you're getting to learn as well. No problem with that. But the shape is normally a little bit less vertical. All right? That's the second area. All right? That's when you meet this person, it starts to get close to you. You're meeting this person way more often than the person you rarely come across. You're starting to get really familiar with this person, which means you start discovering the shaded gray areas, all right? But still, normally you easily can deal with it. You know some people have been disappointing you in the past, but still this person way overcome the negative aspects by its positive actors. So the thing is that you focus on the good, normally, all right? And this is where most people stand. They want to see the best in people, and they often get to be disappointed. And most of the time, we're oscillating between those two. Which means most people, most of your close friends, what they do is that sometimes they surprise you positively, they disappoint you a bit, they surprise you, they disappoint, they surprise, they disappoint. But you stay in this comfortable area in which those persons are called close friends. All right? This is close friends. When a relationship is solid, you trust this person. If something goes wrong, if that person calls you, you'll instantly get down your car and help that person, not even questioning. All right? This is average confidence. All right? This is where you're gonna basically, this person calls you, if your life is not falling apart, if you're fine, if everything goes well with you, you're going to help this person simply because you're a nice person, and when someone calls for help, you're definitely going to help. But still, if you have some shit to process on your own, you're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, or you're not going to pick up the phone to this person, all right? We all know it happens. I'm not going to lie to you. I do that as well. I have some people, when they call me, if I have time, I'm definitely helping them. If I don't have, I'm just going to say, all right, you know what? Find someone else to help you. You probably have better friends to shit on. All right? So this is simply, these are persons that never helped me. I'm going to help them if I can, but if I don't have time or if I have so much shit to process, I'm definitely going to process my shit first. Like every fucking else. I mean, that's normal. I'm a selfish person because every fucking one is selfish. Just most people don't accept that and don't want to speak freely of it. All right? I'm definitely a good person. I'm definitely helping whoever I can if I have the time to do it. That's definitely it. If I have some shit to process on my own, you can be damn sure I'm going to process my own shit first. All right? So that's the thing for those persons. But obviously, even if I have some shit, if my close friends calls me, you can be damn sure I'm going to be there. Even if my life is down the ground, I'll be there to help my friends. That's what everyone will do, all right? But you can help the worldwide persons. Otherwise, they're just stupid as hell, all right? So that's average confidence that we get in here, all right? And sometimes you will have met persons, you will have rise in confidence, you would have been close friends for a while, but those persons disappointed you at some point. You just switch them to a lower confidence area, and they'll stay there. They can regain and be friends again someday. But it's just that, okay, through time, that's how it works. You gain confidence, you lose confidence. All right? The thing is that what you need to understand is that once you cross the apex, once you discover the best of people, all you can discover afterwards is more chances to discover the shaded gray areas, so the darkness of those peoples. That doesn't mean that you're gonna not find some similarities with your own darknesses, and it's even strengthen the conditions with this person in that cases. But the thing is that normally when you reach the apex, all you can be is just being disappointed by people. Which means that through time, most people I've been talking with, and I still haven't been living this yet, but I've been talking with way older people than me, and they all get, I always felt that kind of conclusion that some people, and even the very, very old person, they have very, very few persons they actually give and grant the maximum level of trusting. Like currently right now, I might be trusting 15 to 20 persons at best, no more than that, having the highest level of trust I can give to someone. The thing is that through time, it can go from the average 20 I may have right now in my 30s to 5 when you get to past your 60s or 6 like that. So apparently through time, you tend to deteriorate the confidence you get into people. I still haven't been living that yet, but I think it's about to come, and I think it's a human behavior, whether you like it or not. That's how relationship through human works. You get disappointed, therefore you're granting your confidence to fewer people, and you get to ask more from people, all right? So any fucking way, it's not the point in here, and I'm gonna go spending too much time in here. All right, so the thing is that 3 levels of confidence, people can oscillate, but now we're gonna talk about the market confidence, all right? The 3 major actors in these games, in these market games, are government perspective, right? What the central political decisions will do and impact the economy, because they definitely can do it. And then we've got the Federal Reserve. All right? In here, we're going to concentrate on the U.S., obviously, because I think this is where the big danger is, and I'll explain why after. So the thing is that we've got 3 major actors, all right? The government, the central government, who's making the political decisions and ruling and all those stuff, right? The judgments, legal stuff, and everything like that. Then you've got the financial institutions, so the Fed, the IMF, all those big institutions that are here to rule about the finance only, all right? Not the economy. They're ruling the finance. The thing is that we've got the third aspect, the third party, obviously the market itself. So it is like I've been using that comparison for the French. So some people might not just like that. Or we're gonna go straight in here, whether you like it or not. Okay, it's like a threesome. So most people, I mean, it's been studied for. It's like a human fantasy to do a threesome. So most people have managed to make this fantasy concrete. Some people never do this, but any fucking way, even if you didn't, then you really didn't miss something. It is not that big, it's not that important. So the thing is that generally threesomes are disappointing simply because they're fantasies. People think it is genius, it is great, but still, everybody who's been experienced it just figured it out. It wasn't that great, and moreover, it isn't stable. It's the thing that never worked out. Because we can talk about the one-shot threesome that you want to do when you're drunk or anything like that. No problem with that. You're probably going to be disappointed as well. The thing is that I'm talking about people who are really trying to a long-term threesome, which is a big problem, because whoever tried never ever managed to do it. So that's the point I'm getting into in here. If you're trying to do that kind of ménage à trois, the thing is that it never worked out. So what we have today is this kind of long-term threesome between markets and political pressures and the Fed. The thing is that back then we weren't really having threesome. It was more like the Fed was working with the governments, and they were both kind of driving the market here and there. So it was more like a dual game with 3 parties, but 2 of the parties were so close that they weren't distinct persons, which right now we do have. I mean, in Europe, it's even more complex because we've got local central banks. We'll still have French banks, French central bank, but it's under ECB's control. So the thing is that it's even more of a shit in Euro But still, I think it's a way more solid system we have in the euro area, even though it's unstable as well, it has its own shit. But still, I think the problem today is that we have a triad in the US, and this triad is what never ends well. All right, so I'm just going to delete all that shit now that we've got to the point. All right, so a triangle, like I said, a three fucking sum. The problem is, on a triangle, you have the gravity center, all right? And what you do is that basically you consider this, all right? The gravity center of this triangle, all right? And what we're going to figure out is that at any given time, all of those anchor points in here and here are going to oscillate, all right? They're going to move. Because every person's oscillates, some people are going to be happy at some time, some are going to be depressed. So it's going to impact the relationship throughout this dangerous threesome. All right. So the thing is that it moves, and a triangle is a viable, durable structure when it is what's the word in English? Give me a second. That was easier than expected. So it's an equilateral triangle, simply the same word in French, actually. So the thing is that this structure is stable when it's this, which means every participant is at equal or close to equal distance to the gravity center of this triangle. But the reality isn't close to this. At every given time, we'll always have one people further away from the gravity center and the two others closer, which means in a threesome, there is always two people having a closer bound to each other, and the third one just lacking or lagging behind. And the thing is that it's not always the same, but it tends to be through time, which means every fucking threesome ends up with one being rejected. It is hard to say, but most of the time, all right, let's go dig really into this, all right? In every fucking couple that's been living more than 10 to 15 years right now in nowadays, they all tried a threesome, all right, at some point to get someone else in the couple to just try it out. It always ends up the same way. Either the guy ends up with the other girl, or the two girls finish together and they just flush out the guy, or the guy remain with his wife and they just flush out the in-between girl who was just here for some short-term fantasy, figuring out that the threesome isn't really what matters in life, and still it was three people who just end up being two people. All right, so like I said, it's gonna end up like that, whether you like it or not, whether the Fed will be absorbed by the political pressure, which means Trump administration will take over the Fed, all right? They will just basically say, okay, Fed is now under control. It's under federal control and is no longer independent. It's under political pressure. It's under political control. And that's big dangerous because, once again, it never has been like that, or it has been in the past at some cases, but oh my God, you really don't want to have Trump in control of economics because this guy doesn't even get close to an economical behavior. This guy is an asshole. And like I said, I've been sharing you knowledge about this guy. If you think he's a great guy, if you think he's a business guy, he understands the market. No, this guy has literally fucked up everything he's done when he came close to investment. He's been ruining many people, and he never achieved anything but getting crazy fucking bonuses. All right, so that's exactly who is Trump. So if this guy takes control of the Fed, oh my fucking God, I don't want to have a single dollar invested in my portfolio. All right, so the thing is that this is the big problem. Solution number one to this problem, like I said, Fed is taken control by the government. That's a big danger. All right. Second option, we have to push someone away. All right. I think at some point, second option is impeachment, because the problem isn't the American administration. The problem is Trump, who's been shitting all over the U.S. administration. What it did is basically, I'm bullshitting, and if you don't follow my bullshit, you get fired, and I'm going to hire someone who will. That's exactly how the U.S. administration is working nowadays. Obviously, you guys still have a Congress right now, and thankfully, you still have it under democratic control, which is balancing the shit that Trump will do otherwise. So the thing is that at least you still have balance. All right? That doesn't mean your government will collapse. All I'm saying is that the problem is a big T. It's the fucking Trump itself. All right? I could say himself, but the guy is just a puppet. So the thing is that This guy is dangerous. He's really, really dangerous. I think, and I thought the day he got elected, that it will be impeached. I don't know if it's going to be impeached by its first mandate or if we're ever going to be able to get a second one, but still, this guy will end up broken. It's not going to be a pretty end for this guy. It cannot be. So the second option, which is the one I still favor, I just don't know how long it will take because it's a matter of destroying confidence. All right, that's the conclusion we're going to get down to. Second option, the Fed will differentiate from Trump and the Fed gets closer to the market. All right, which means the Fed stops feeding the bubble, just says, okay, the market will have to retrace whether Trump's like it or not. Trump is not an economist, Trump is a bullshitter, and the Fed will just do oppositely, which means we're historical high, the Fed needs to raise rates. Whether Trump likes it or not, they need to rise rate 0.25 base point immediately. They need to do it by the next meeting. They need to do it. Otherwise, the market will have a signal saying, all right, Fed is no longer in control. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Let's play with Trump for a bit. That's a fucking threesome. That's exactly what it is. Like I said, one of the two parties will be favored, which means the market, all right? Let's assume the market is this peak, all right? The market will have many choices. Either it get close to Powell or it get close to Trump. But any fucking way, the market will always be closer to one of those two parties. Right? This is the game. Let's consider this as the market. The question I'm wondering right now is, where are we playing this? All right? Let's say Trump is at this distance and Powell is oscillating right now. All right? Powell has always been closer than Trump to the market, but now the market doesn't really understand Powell, and at some point he's hesitating to go down to Trump's attractiveness. Right? The thing is that this is dangerous. If we got the Trump market, it is no market. It is a bubble. It's a dangerous thing that will collapse because Trump has a devastating fate. This guy is an absolute narcissist who gets to ultimate power. You don't want to know how it ends, and certainly you don't want to put your market in someone like that hands. This guy will destroy your entire economy, and I knew that the day he got elected. So you better want to impeach him before he fucks up your entire economy. But right now, the market still has a three-party things, which means they still have Powell in the game. The thing is that if Trump's absorb Powell, and like I said, it's a binary choice afterward. It's just a two-people stuff. It's Trump and the market, and in that perspective, the end is absolute bullshit and chaos. And you don't want to give even more power to such guy. All right? So I stand to believe the Fed is still independent as we speak. It's been irrationally behaving recently. The Fed needs to set a really clear stand to the market in the forthcoming months to just prove one thing: their confidence. The market is oscillating, which means the market confidence throughout the Fed is oscillating because the market cannot read the goddamn Fed. It's been moving 100 degrees here and there. It's just been returning, made a U-turn instantly. So now the market is starting to lose confidence in the Fed, and that's not good because we rather like to lose confidence in Trump. The thing is that the market and Trump is complicated behavior because the market is just one. It isn't just one thing. The market is a multiple people, and the thing is that the rational people in the market, the investors, the rational traders, the stock investors, the people who know about the market, the experimented traders, they see Trump as a bullshitter. I mean, every financial guy knows Trump is a bullshitter. We all know that. I mean, that it's been clear since the first day. Not a single financial person will give confidence to Trump. We know this guy is not a market guy. This guy is a sales guy. He's selling dreams, and every person who manages risk have figured it out by the day they put their eyes on Trump. This guy is not a financial person. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. I told you forever, a trader, I mean a financial person, is a rational person. Is not a bullshitter who just says something out here and there. Is a risk manager. Do you see Trump as a risk manager? No, this guy is just, I'm all in, fuck you. That's nothing to do with a risk manager. So this guy is not a financial. All right, this guy is a commercial. And we all know that in finance. So we're not granting any fucking confidence to the kind of persons. We all know the guy is a seller, he's going to try selling his shit, and the day he won't be able to sell, we're just going to replace by someone else. So the market knows Trump is just passing by. Trump thinks he's going to stay there forever. He's going to be the greatest president. Every freaking financial guy knows this guy will probably not terminate his mandate, even if it has to be 2 mandates. So the thing is that finance never granted confidence into Trump. They just said, all right, you want to give us money? I'm going to take it. No problem with that. The tax plan is good. It's free money. So let's dance together. So the market went into a nasty dance with Trump. But the thing is that it has been bringing some new people in the market. Some retail traders who don't know a goddamn shit about risk management. And the thing is that these guys, they like Trump. Oh man, they like him. The guy is putting the market upward, so they're making money, so they're liking Trump just because Trump brings money. Those guys, like I said, figure out the confidence bubble with the confidence bell we just spotted earlier. They're top confidence in Trump because at the moment they just saw the best of him. The guy is saying something, the market goes up, they're making money. Oh man, I like Trump. That's genius. That's the first time in my life that I made easy money, so yeah, I like the guy, even if it's an asshole, it just brings me money, so I like him. You're acting like a fucking teenager. You just met the guy, you don't even know who the fuck he is. If you just think it for a second, you'll know that this guy's future isn't bright. You'll know that you just have the worst to discover about this guy. You know he's going to break your confidence, you know he's going to do hard, and if you put the market in someone like that hands, which is going to break the market. It means the market will lose confidence with the presidential. And that's a big problem because the market is the economy, which means whenever the market wants him out, is out. He's going to be impeached by the weeks that follows. So the problem is, who's in control of the market right now? Because like I said, the market isn't just one person. It's a group of people, and it's a consensus. So at the moment, what do we have? We have institutionals just looking at the market saying, what the fuck is happening? What the Fed is fucking doing right now. We need the Fed to set a clear stance so we can know who the fuck we must be dealing with. In order to get back in this market, the institutional needs the Fed to set a clear stance, which they don't, which means right now, what do we have? Retail traders, share buybacks, putting the prices higher, putting even more retails in the market. We're taking control of the market behaviors, and those guys, they like Trump. So the market is now getting closer to Trump than it is going to the Fed, and that's a big danger. Because like I said, I think the Fed is way more competent when it comes to risk managing than the goddamn Trump administration, who is nothing close to risk managing, but just bullshitting and dream selling, which is a big problem. And I think this is the actual question you really want to wonder. How is this dangerous threesome gonna end? Because it will end, obviously. Either at some point, the market and the Fed will finally get to work together, right? Which they were doing back then. The Fed is supposed to be market dependent and then not under political pressure. But now this dangerous thing has become a threesome because we got 3 parties not saying the same shit, and they need to be doing it ending in a 2-way sector any fucking way. All right, so either the Fed will have to be absorbed by the political pressure, or the Fed will have to return market dependent. And if they do, mean the Fed needs to be hawkish right now. They don't need to be dovish. We're historical highs for very bad reason. The economy isn't doing great, but like I said, Fed is supposed to deal with the economy. Right? The economy is in a bad shape or is showing some slowing pace signs, but still, you guys are trading historical highs, which means there is a bubble, and the Fed is not supposed to allow bubble. The Fed needs to say, all right, now there is too much speculation, we're rising interest rate whether you like it or not, because otherwise we're just going to fuel a bubble. That's exactly what the Fed needs to do. They need to say that we're going to support the prices on support area, but we're definitely not going to support prices under resistance, and we're moreover not going to support prices breaking resistances because of us. Because that's what's happening right now. The economy doesn't nearly support a breakout of resistances, but the market is breaking them because it thinks the Fed will support. The Fed must support below the supports. The Fed must not support throughout resistance, and that's why they need to stand. So the next Fed meeting is definitely going to be a big game changer. Because if the Fed splits with Trump, Trump is going to be impeached by the end of its first mandate. If the Fed just stays quiet and let the bubble inflating itself, then Trump is probably going to be reelected, but its second mandate is probably going to be the end of the US economy. You guys going to get to something close to 1929, something really, really ugly, in which you're going to destroy so much value that people will get down the street. We'll have to go to wait lines for eating stuff and everything like that. That's the worst case scenario. You definitely don't want to risk that. I never said it will happen. All I said is that if you get into a Trump economy, oh my fucking God, you really think it's going to end well? No, it's not going to end well. It's not even possible. There's not a chance it can happen. It's just a matter of time. And believe it, if it gets reelected in 2020, you guys going to have that guy for 2024. Do you really think the economy will survive for 5 years in a stupid, crazy bubble? No, it won't. Because either Trump is going to have to suffer some natural consequences, I mean a natural disaster or anything like that, because the planet we live on is here to correct the parabolic system. And Trump is nothing more than the craziest parabola we've ever seen. So once again, Trump is not something that lasts. It is not something any rational financial mind will bet into for the long run. The only guys who will follow Trump's know this is short term. They'll do it for short-term profits, which means only bubble can come up with Trumps. And that's not what you want. There's too much liquidity in the market right now. We do have a credit bubble. You don't want to have a speculative bubble on top of this in the current shitty trade context that Trump has been putting in motion. That's exactly. I mean, you want rational behavior. It's not that I hate Trump. I think this guy is the best ever seller we've ever seen. But the thing is that he's doing quite dangerous stuff to the economy right now. The only thing Trump has managed to do so far is tax plan, who's been feeding a bubble, because tax plan is great, but tax plan is great after a recession. You wait for the recession and you put some fiscal stimulus to put some growth in the market. You don't do this at the potential end of an economic cycle, knowing that it is going to be credit negative and that you're probably going to have to suffer for a recession in between. That's very stupid to do this. But Trump wanted it because Trump, he wanted something, he put it in place. That's a good thing, but just the timing wasn't good. The tax plan is really a good thing. And I stand on this. Trump really done it well, but not at the right timing. Second thing, all right, the problem is the trade war. I mean, Trump basically took the world trade and just fucked it up entirely, all right, which means so far the only thing he's been doing is a deal with Canada. This deal still hasn't been passed in Congress. The US-China deal, they've been selling that shit for more than 3 months. We still got shit. And even if it passes, is it going to pass Congress? And then senators and everything? I mean, God fucking damn it. So far, just rationally, fact. What has Trump done with trade but putting shit everywhere? Let's be rational. He's just been fucking up the entire trade organizations. And the problem is, it hasn't been solving any of those problems yet. They make you think that you will win this game by bending the Chinese, and most of the US think this. I'm talking to US average persons to just figure out what they think. You all think this. You all think Trump is great because it brings money. Trump is doing a good job. Trump is a good financial guy. And you all think he's going to bend the Chinese, and that the Chinese will bend and agree on a trade war termination because you're so strong, you're the best ones, and obviously you're going to have to win this thing. You know what the reality is going to be? You're not going to win a shit, because anything that's going to be in this tax plan, in this deal, is not going to be anything that the Chinese will win, will lose. The China already owns you, whether you like it or not. They're stronger than you already. So you're not winning. They let you think you may win, but they won't any fucking way, because they're the guys who build nowadays world. And whether you like it or not, we live in a consumption area, which means you consume what people have been producing. So if you split with China, yeah, well, then then build your goddamn iPhones in the US, and you'll see if you still want to buy it. And if you want to buy it, yes, which price? Which means Is Apple going to make that shit ton of margins out of a phone built in the US? Definitely not. So you can think whatever you want. This is not how trade works. Trade works with trade partners. So if you try to create trade adversaries instead of partners, it's not going to end well. That's exactly what Trump has been doing. Getting into a room full of powder and just throwing a sparkle in there. That's exactly what Trump is trying to do. And he thinks something good is going to come out of this. Do you really think it's how it's going to be? It's too late to do any fucking thing. Whether you like it or not, American people likes to consume. They consumers, all right? Just like us European are. But the thing is that, and the reality is, China is producing most of what we consume. So fuck you if you think you're stronger than them, you are not. They produce your shit, which means everyone is important in this game. No one is stronger than another. China is as strong as the US, China is as strong as the European, and the European is as strong as everyone else. All right? It's a triad. The thing is that as long as you try to destroy one of those two parties, it's not going to end well. It's the same old triangle we're trading right now between Europe, China, and US. All right? What Trump is doing is this. Do you want to put shit into something that we hardly do any fucking thing we can to just bring to some equilateral distance? All right? That's the World Trade Organization is trying to do. That's what the UN is trying to do. And Trump just think is the one that is losing, but we're not. We're pretty much being equilibrated enough. We're balanced. The thing is that Trump is just putting shit out of something that was balanced. And it's not going to end well. Because the harder the shit is going to put, the more it's going to try to push us to duality. Which means one of the three will disappear and be absorbed by the others. And that's a big, big problem. Because that's not the kind of world you want. A bi-party world generally means war. So having three-party in this world with a balanced thing is definitely what you need, whether you like it or not. When I've been speaking to this average American, you know what he told me? He basically told me, you know what, Trump is doing great. I don't know why you guys don't like him. In the rest of the world, he's doing a great job. First answer, you don't know who you're talking about. Just, get yourself informed of pure facts of who the hell is really Trump. And this guy is dangerous. He's really, really dangerous. And he should be impeached. And I hope that this is how this story will end, because otherwise that's not pretty what lies ahead. We really need a three-party world, because if we don't have this, even if the balance is never perfect, all right, we still have balancing. And anytime someone gets too far, we do anything we can to just bring him closer, all right? China produces, US creates, and EU rules. That's how we do stuff, all right? You invent, they produce, we consume, and we rule on this. We make it ethical, we make it rational. So Europe is absolutely necessary. So what does the US average guy think? Right? This is what they told me, all right? Trump is great. You're just bullshitting of him, but it's probably the best president we've ever had. It's probably going to end up being the worst one. But still, what they say next, Europe is shit. You guys are already crawling and crumbling together, so Europe is about to split. You guys are about to disappear. And China, there are some assholes who are taking the money out of US. If that's how you think things, and if that's how the world is about to end, which means Europe disappearing and being absorbed either by the US or by China, you want to know, you know how it ends? Do you really know how it ends? It's a nasty fucking global war, because you don't want to have a bipartisan world. If you do have something like that, it's ending up in military war, and that means probably the end of this world. So you don't want that. We need Europe. And we need this this concerned third party that Europe is. If you think you need to fight us in order to get stronger, the only thing you do is just putting us closer to China. We're not going to get close to US. It's not going to happen. If you guys get further away from Europe, if you put shit on us, we're going to just agree with China and we're going to put you out of this game. And that's the most dangerous stuff. Europe will always lie ahead because Europe cannot meet with just China. We always try to get closer to the two. Europe is the one that balanced the fucking world. It has always been. Just learn your goddamn history. You'll figure out every time a war has been set in place, it always has been in Europe. Because Europe, whether you like it or not, is the center of the goddamn world. We're here to make things balanced. What Trump is doing is just putting goddamn in balance, all right? So we're trying to do anything we can to just set ourselves in between, to just balance the stuff and avoid a goddamn war, but Trump is doing anything he can to just provoke it. And that's the big deal. That's what I think is the danger with Trump. This guy creates wars. So think of it. Think about the triad. Think about the threesomes. Think about how it plays right now with Trump and the Fed. Think about the bigger, even bigger picture triangle that we have in here. And think about any time we want to prevent the big shit from happening and hitting the fan. And I'm talking about shit you don't want. Do you really want a war? I mean, I'm a dad. I don't nearly even want my son to live in a war zone. So the problem we have right now is that we have economical wars. Hopefully we still have no military wars because we still have, still not perfect, but we have a balance between the three major parties in this world. The thing is that now that Trump is in power and he wants to be America first, the only thing it does is putting shit through this balance. And you don't want that. You must want to understand what's at play, and you definitely need to. If you think being first is great, being first only brings the war.